I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. You joined in a great company, right? And that will really help you get whatever results really you intend for. And you have so many additional incentives or packages, your desired, dreamed package, right? Packages, whatever you have really dreamt for. So, so what happened? What happened there is like for some time you were working well, and after a point you started facing some issues, and there you don't continue with whatever you have, and you don't continue how you used to work formerly. And now there are some problems there. It's because people join, new employees join, and there are some issues that are happening. So, what's the reason? Your attitude. Yes, that is very important wherever you work. So, for the students or for upcoming engineering graduates or any working professionals, working employees who are going to start their career, and who have already started career, it's such an important topic that I have brought for you is placement related topic, that is shaping your attitude for success, part 1. Let's get started. What is this attitude? So it is very important and integral part of soft skills. My dear viewers and listeners, you have to realize. So it's like, you have to realize that this is an important element. You cannot undermine, you cannot underrate, you cannot ignore this element. So wherever you work, how big you are, how successful person you are, whatever you are doing it, your attitude is very important in any workplace that you really working there. That makes such a difference. It will make a person or mar a person. So you cannot just ignore thinking that it is simply a waste of time, or simply a tricky thing or a small thing that really I don't have to face, spend a lot of time on that. No, you're wrong if you're doing it, because of this attitude. It not only it not only brings you problems for your own personality, but also it poses problems, or it creates a lot of problem to the employees who you are working with or who are working with you. So that is why you have to have a constant eye on this attitude. Now, what is attitude and how you can really do that? And this is a very important aspect in soft skills. You have to really pay attention to. So it is a positive, negative, or mixed evaluation of any object or person there. Okay, some kind of intensity will be there, right, at some point of time. So what is this attitude? Can be good, attitude can be bad, attitude can be positive, attitude can be negative, or can be mixed, or can be both. Oh no. So if you handle this, definitely you can really, you can really master your, efficient competence or subject or the content or your kind of goals, or you can that you're really aiming for, that you're really dreaming for. So this is very important. So it could be anything, like it could be negative, or it could be positive, or mixed of both, or it could be anything. So that is what you have to really pay attention for. Next one. Attitude or attitudes, it involves, or it is all about complex organization of what? Evaluation of beliefs, feelings, and tendencies toward certain because of this attitude, or because of these attitudes, you behave in certain way. Your feelings are different, or your beliefs are different, or your tendencies towards other things are very different. So as a result, there are so many problems caused. So now, how much we like or dislike something, determines our behavior. Whether we like something, we behave in one way. If we don't like something, our behavior changes. So it all depends upon the future surrounding things and our mindset towards one particular thing, or our feelings towards particular person or particular work. So we determine, or that determines our actions. So our behavior will definitely have an impact on the work type that we are taking up. For example, if our attitude is not good, we won't be able to coordinate well with others, and definitely they won't be able to give their support, and we won't be able to reach that particular common goals. So we have to support each other, we have to coordinate each other, we have to approach each other, we have to seek each other, we have to help each other, we have to be friendly with each other, we have to avoid or shun some problematic or behavioral issues, right? So how much we dislike something or how much we like, they will determine our attitude or our behavior towards that thing, right? Our attitude is something, cognitive. It happens at cognitive level. It happens in mind, and behavior is shown out. Okay, so attitude is all about the way we think, the way we want to project ourselves, the way we want to conduct ourselves, the way we want to do in particular action or anything. But whereas behavior will operate, okay, on attitude, or we will start showing up in our behavior, we will start working on our behavior, right? So that is what we avoid. Shun, that's why sometimes we avoid, and sometimes we shun completely, sometimes we reject the things which we do not like. So these are all the repercussions, or these are all the consequences that a company faces. So, or people of this mindset or of these issues, they will behave in a similar way. So you have to have a checklist. You have to really sit and work on those attitudinal barriers. That is what we call as the gender issues will be there in any company you like, in any workplace. So you have negative tendencies towards others, like you start looking down on others, you start uplifting some people, you start acknowledging some people, you do not acknowledge others, and you have some gender biases where you dislike opposite sex and you are friendly with your own sex, right? Whereas you start helping them, and based on your caste, based on your religion, based on your community, based on your culture, you perform in many different ways. That is why you have to be above all these narrow-minded attitudes. Like these are things that you have to shun completely for the success of your kind of job. Like, so what do? We tend to approach or seek out to be associated things. So we will sit with only people we like. We will start working with only like-minded people. Yes, you have to work with like-minded people. That is for sure. But also you have to become friendly with all other employees in that particular the block, or in that particular chamber, or in that particular department, or in that particular team. And you have to combine, or you have to sit with them, understand their problems, talk to them and share your problems, and then finally you have to work out on that particular common solution. So we tend to approach, seek out, or to be associated with things we like. So what do after, in case we do not like that particular person, or we do not like that particular the kind of like team, like we start departing from them, we start showing our faces, with all sulky faces. These are very much apparent on the faces of work employees, how much big they are, how good they are in their work performances. Even if they're at higher offices, still they have these attitudinal issues. So that is why you should avoid it. And now upcoming engineer graduates, you have to, you should not indulge in such offensive, in such narrow-minded, in such the problematic and complex issues. So you have to tune your mind. You have to train up your mind to be good. You have to train up your mind to think properly. You have to train up your mind to work properly. You have to train up your mind, because you are going to set a model. If you are not a model, then you will not set a good example. If you do not set a good example, your followers will not learn anything from you. If they don't learn anything from you, and your company gets so many losses, and you will not get any profit, and as a result, you will have to shut down your company. So that is why. So now let's look at some examples of attitudes. Are he has a positive attitude about the changes, right? And so many things in our lifetime too. And you're working in a company, and suddenly you have a hurdle there, right? And and sometimes the people around you really discourage you, and as a result, what you do is you start showing up your attitude, and you don't have any positive attitude further and about the changes. And because of the consistent changes that are happening and frequent changes are happening, and you are no more happy, and you don't have a positive attitude. And if you don't have a positive attitude, you won't give your best to the company. So you have to avoid that. Right now, let me help you with this definition of attitude. Attitude is a manner, disposition, feeling, and position with regard to a person or thing, tendency or orientation, especially in the mind. Attitude is a manner, disposition, feeling, and position with regard to a person or a thing. So, kind of like manner you have with regard to any person or anything, or kind of tendency, orientation, especially in the mind. So, the way you want to behave, the way you believe to behave, the way you believe to conduct your mannerism. Next. Now, what are some characteristics of attitude, right? They are complex, no doubt, they are complex. Combination, they're combined with different things, right? So they're combined with different personalities, beliefs, values, behavior, and motivation. So like you don't have one way of behaving, right? One way of performing your work. So as a result, you perform in a different way, and certainly you have to be mindful of that. Right. Next, it can fall anywhere. Your attitude can fall anywhere along the continuum from very favorable to unfavorable. Next, all people, irrespective of their status or intelligence, hold attitudes. So what happens is, like, all people, irrespective of your status or intelligence, holds attitudes. So you have to be this kind of attitudinal barrier will really hamper your work efficiency. Even if your work is 100% good, that will really hamper your work performance. So that is why, even if you are a great hired boss for that company, and if you have these attitudinal issues, you won't be able to perform well, and you won't be able to success, because at one point of time your behavior will hold you. So that is why your attitude, shaping your attitude, is very important. You have to shape your attitude in such a way that you will get the desired result, right? An attitude exists in every person's mind, every person, and there is no single person who doesn't have mind. No, every person. It helps to define our integrity, so our identity, and guide our actions and influence how we judge people. So it will definitely show the way. It will definitely show the path. It will definitely improve the quality of something, right? It exists in every person's mind. It is not excluded at all on any basis. It will help us to define what we are and how we can really identify ourselves in society or in any workplace or in any professional setting. And it will really help our actions in case if we have good attitude. And also it influences how we judge people. That is very important. And we should not jump to conclusions for judging people. We should not immediately give a critical comment on that. We have to wait, we have to see, we have to respond. So based on that only, you have to perform all that. So never ever judge a person based on his immediate actions. Wait for the person until he completes. Wait for that person until he finishes his all required tasks. Wait for some time, and long time evaluation will help you achieve better. Long time evaluation will really will really help you understand what a person is. So, if we judge people in a short span, definitely we may not be able to understand what they are, and as a result, we won't be able to work on, we won't be able to work perfectly, right? So that is why an attitude exists in every person's mind, right? So it will help us to achieve whatever we really want to achieve. Next, this helps us define how we see situations. How we see situations. Alright? As we all define how we behave toward the situation or object. So this will help us define how we see or how we understand our situation. It provides us with internal cognitions, right? And also it will help us understand beliefs, thoughts about people and objects. It will also help us to be explicit and implicit. And this attitude is sometimes very implicit, and this attitude sometimes is very explicit. So now, how is this explicit attitude is appears like it appears as that we are consciously aware of an implicit attitude, right? So this is very much seen on the behavior of people. Next, attitudes cause us to behave in a particular way toward an object or person. So, right? Attitudes cause us to behave in a particular way. So that is why, and it is, and how do we really have this kind of attitude? So, what is the origin? What is the source? This is, the source of our attitude is based on our past experiences, past memories, past accomplishments, and past failures. So, whatever are they? So, based on all that, we are working on them, right? So, we don't have to worry about it. So, based on our past memories, based on our experiences, we will try to work on that. So it includes certain aspects of the personality as interests, appreciation, and social conduct. Also, it indicates the sum total of a man's inclinations and feelings. It indicates, right? It shows, it signals, it signifies sum total of a man's inclination towards something or feelings towards something. And also, like if somebody is ready for doing something, and also it is because of his attitude. And it's if somebody shows some interest, personal interest, and it is just because of something. And if somebody is not able to appreciate, and it is because of his attitude. So we have to be careful with all these things. So we have to be very careful when we are nurturing certain values. We have to be mindful of the things that we are really taking into consideration. So you cannot think whatever you like, and you cannot try to figure out the problem by using this biased manner, right? So it is a particular attitude, or it is a particular way of performing things, right? You cannot do that. That is why in characteristics we saw that we have to be very unbiased. We have to be unbiased, and we cannot be favorable or unfavorable depending upon different reasons, right? So that is why it is very important. So now all these things, all attitude, because of these attitudes, you will perform in that, but in a way that the other person, the other employee will start not will start showing his disfavor. At the same time, that person will not be able to support you further, right? And as a result, your company that you are really working in will definitely show all bad or negative results, and definitely they will shoot you out of the country, out of the job. So that is why you have to be careful when you are doing it. So what does it do? It helps identify, or it helps know, or it helps us to and establish certain identity, by our because of our nature or behavior. So what is it? What is this? So although the feeling and belief components of attitude are internal to a person, we can view or his or her attitude in her respective behavior. So even though it all happens inside the mind, or even though it happens inside one person's personality, that person will eventually show his or her character. So that is why you have to feel that this is no more a short time goal. It is a long term goal you have to really care about. See, that is why we have understood that attitude is a positive, right? A negative mixed evaluation. So you cannot determine that in one particular cell. So it is a combination of both. And sometimes we are negative and sometimes we are positive. And sometimes we behave, we have this kind of animal behavior which we should be very careful. We should not show it, right? And that will really spoil, that will really give your, that will really make people who are very, very intelligent, but still they are unable to achieve the success because of that. So how much we dislike or how much we like is clearly shown in our behavior. So that is the reason we have to be very careful. Now, some examples that we have already seen. Positive attitude will about, he has a positive attitude about changes, and one particular person, he doesn't have any positive attitude about the changes that happen. So why is it? It's because of his positive behavior or attitude or negative attitude. So now that is why you have to understand the definition of it. It is the manner or disposition, feeling and position with regard to a person or thing. So have to be mindful of that, right? So now certain characteristics are very important. What are they? They are combination or there are some beliefs, values, behavior and motivation. So what is your motivation level? What are your beliefs? What are your values? So how is that it is, it's shown outside. So that is why you have to be very careful, right? So irrespective of their status or intelligence levels, they behave in a very negative way in case if they don't carry forward this kind of attitude. So attitude exists in every person's mind, and it is not a single person or only employees carry this. No, even the boss. So how is his attitude? How is your attitude? And you have to shape accordingly, right? It exists in every person's, anywhere, everywhere, in every person's mind, and it helps us to identify our, status, and it and influence how we judge people. So based on our personal experiences, based on our knowledge experiences, we will try to judge them. You have to be careful, right? And also attitude helps us define how we see situations also. How we see situations. What is it shapes our perspectives also. How we take up something and how we perceive that. So that is also easily managed in case if you have this sort of positive behavior, right? It provides us with internal cognitions or beliefs and thoughts about people and objects, right? So this is very important. And our attitudes cause us to behave in a particular way toward an object. So this is the reason, because of this attitude, right? It is a summary, right, of a person's past experiences. Based on this past experience only, based on that attitude only, grounded, it is, everything is grounded and attitude is grounded. So it includes certain aspects of personality, what are they? As interest, appreciation and social contact. So now this attitude has different other things inside. What are they? The person's interest is more dependent. Attitude influences that person's interest. Attitude influences that person's appreciative nature. Attitude influences that person's social conduct in society with his or her employees. So it is a sum total of man's inclinations and feelings. So what he is inclined to, where is he, and how is he, and that all is about his attitude, and it is grounded on his belief system, right? It refers to one's readiness for doing something. And in a company, you are ready to do one particular thing, you are not ready to do it, and again, what determines your attitude is the reason. So because of it, your attitude determines your work ability, right? And if you are able to work well effectively, and it is just because of your attitude. All right. So that is the reason. Now let us see some components of attitude. Attitude represent our evaluations, preferences or rejections based on the information we receive. They represent our evaluations, preferences. So what do they? So how do we? What are our preferences? What are our other good preferences or bad preferences? So how is the evaluation, and what is the rejection, and what is the cause of the rejection? What is the reason behind that? And it is all, again, these are all grounded on based on this attitude. So that is why attitude is very central, and we have to be very careful when you are taking up that. Next, it is a generalized tendency. It is a generalized tendency to think and act in certain way in respect of some object or situation. It is a generalized tendency to think and act. So, it's kind of like we tend to think and act in certain way, and it is all because of, because of our attitude. That is why we have to, be mindful of it. We will see what are some components in the latter sides. So before that, let me tell you. So often it is accompanied by what? Feelings. So when we have particular attitude and we show forth our responses, our feelings are, see, in placements, in soft skills, we tell the students or the students who are attending, we say attitude is very important. In soft skills, just like body language is more important, attitudinal barrier will really block your career, and it will really hamper your career, and it's just because of your attitudinal issues. So we have to see that we are very broad minded and not depending upon any culture, not depending upon any particular favoritism towards one particular group. We have to, not being able to show proper judgment. It's just because of this. So if we are unable to execute proper judgment or proper solution, or trying to do some good favor to all people, it's just because of our attitude. So we have to set right. In a company, our boss, if for example, if he's a person with a different mindset, mood swings, right? And because of some personal issues, and he shows his very bad feelings towards his employees, and his attitude is not right because of that. So his feelings impact him, memories impact him, past experiences impact him. So we should not be like that. So it is often, so what is so much apparent outside? It is only his feelings. So it is a learned predisposition to respond in a consistent manner with respect to a given object. So you have to be, it is a learned predisposition to respond in a consistent manner. It's just not we blindly act in such a way. It is completely understood, planned, carefully, displayed behavior. And it is all because how we think about our attitude, and how we realize our attitude, and how we nurture our attitude. It is all because of that. Next. So this will include evaluations of people, issues, objects. So if our attitude is not right, definitely our evaluations are very poor. If our attitude is not proper, definitely our evaluation will be very negative, and eventually that will sometimes uncertain also, and they will perform. They will show. They are easily apparent, and they are very projected in a negative way. They are projected in a negative way just because of that. So now let us see what are three components of attitude, right? So these three components of attitude are cognitive, affective component, behavioral component. Cognitive component, affective component, and behavioral component. So now let's see. Now what are these cognitive components? So what are these cognitive components? These cognitive components or cognitive component of attitudes refers to the beliefs. Again, see, the mind, psyche, thoughts, attributes that we would associate with an object. So that we would associate with an object. So these are very important. A cognitive component of attitudes refer to what? Beliefs. So kind of beliefs we have, kind of thoughts we have, kind of attributes, characteristics, nature. That's what we feel. Characters, traits of that particular person. So these are all, again, they are related to cognitive components, and these are together called as cognitive components, and we would we would associate with an object like that, right? Next, affective component. What is this affective component? This affective component, affective factors we say, right? Affectors we say, like affector we say, that means influencing characters, influencing components. So what are they? They are emotional, feeling segment of an attitude. It is an emotional or feeling segment of an attitude. What is affective components are nothing but emotional or feeling segment of an attitude. It deals with what affective component deals with feelings or emotions that are brought to the surface about something such as fear or hate. So what happens? So as a result, what are protruded? Fear and hate are protruded. They are shown because of that. So because of this fear and because of this hatred, we indulge in different actions. So that is why we have to be careful when we are, trying to kind of compilation. Like we make our mindsets in such a way that we neglect all sort of possible dangers and we behave in that particular way. Next, behavioral component. This what is this behavioral component? An attitude consists of a person's tendencies, okay, and we eventually we behave in a particular way. We show it in a particular way, and it refers to the part of attitude which reflects the intention of a person in the short or long run. So it refers to the intention, the original, okay, what is his objective, what is his intention, purposes, okay, that either in long or a short run, either in the long run or in short run, these are very much projected, right? So this is what about behavioral component. So what have we discussed? We talked about these three cognitive components, affective components, behavioral components. Cognitive components are nothing but our beliefs, our thoughts, our attributes, right? And that they are associated. And then affective components are emotional or feelings related, and they result in either fear, in hate. Okay. Next, behavioral component. They are tendencies that we behave in particular way, and they refer to the intention of the person, and it is sole intention of the person. It is the intention behind one person's behavior. So these are the reasons why we behave in such a way. Affective segments, behavioral segments, cognitive segments will affect our attitude, which is why we behave in that particular, either in a peculiar way or in a good way. So my dear learners, definitely we have understood in part 1 attitude for success. Part 1 we have understood what is an attitude, actually what is the definition of it, and how is it is nurtured, and on what it is grounded, right? Based on past experiences, based on past accomplishments, based on past success, based on failures and accomplishments. These are grounded, right? Attitudes are grounded. So that is why we have to be very careful in how we are taking up from our past memories. And we also discussed 3 components: behavioral, affective, and cognitive components. In the next session, we will see how we can really, follow some tips and strategies, how to, discipline our attitude and mind, so that in a company that where we are working in, we will be able to discipline our mind and soul, and we will have excellent attitude towards, in any workplace that we are in, and we will be able to be a successful professional, right? With all these things, I would say that you will be a person with great attitude in case if you invest some time and hard work, in nurturing and in shaping out your attitude. Very often what we do is, in our company, right, there are so many problems, right, and there are so many things that are going inside our mind. We are unable to control our mind and body. So as a result, what happens is, like, we behave in a very bad way. So what, and eventually we'll show up that in a very negative way. So why it is like that? Why? It just because of our attitude. And this, what is the reason? Based on several reasons. So why are we doing like that? Past memories or past reasons. And because of these reasons, we are behaving in such a way. So now what happens if you work in any organization? Employees get affected by your behavior. by your communication. Just like communication not only means passing on the information, but how effective you are communicating, how effective you are transmitting information. In the similar manner, in your behavior also, in your attitude, how are you behaving with them? And in case they are not able to meet up the targets, how are you reciprocating? How are you responding to them? And how are you encouraging them? How are you discouraging them? Are you just writing emails, bad emails, negative emails, showing out all the problems? You need patience. How is your attitude? Are you a long suffering person, or with good patience, or it's like are you a person with a short temper or wicked bad temper? Like, we have to be very careful. So our attitude or our behavior is mainly because of this reason, is mainly because of this attitude. So, and also our cultural background is also is responsible for that. And our attitudes or our attitude is based on our brought up also, or our childhood, or our educational background, childhood background, social background, economic background, financial background, and the kind of social life we have. Based on all these reasons, we behave in a particular way, right? If a person is with a person who is not at all an extrovert, right? A person is not at all an extrovert, and he's an introvert. He keeps himself everything to himself, and but he's a person of great work, right? He's a man of work, right? He works superb, he works fantastic, he works excellent, but the way he behaves with people is very poor. And what is the use? And at some point of time, he will be targeted, he will be evaluated, he will be judged by his higher authorities based on the complaints raised by the employees. And maybe he's a person of great work, but his behavior or attitude towards people or other employees is not very good. And that is why you need to shape and tune your attitude. So with that, I want to close my presentation or session saying that shape your attitude in such a way that you get in good success, or shape in a bad way, you lose your success. Shape in a good way, you get a great success ahead, right? With these closing thoughts, I would say that if you are with these closing thoughts, I would say that if you are a person with excellent attitude, then you are going to set a great model to all your followers. So with this happy note, let us end this session. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.